The line forms before sunrise. Men, women, children, all standing silently in the cold, clutching sacks and baskets as if holding onto something solid might steady the day. The smell of damp stone mixes with stale sweat and smoke from nearby chimneys. Somewhere down the street, a baby starts crying. No one turns around. The bakery door is still closed. When it finally opens, there will not be enough bread. Everyone here already knows that. The only question is how long the waiting will stay quiet. Paris does not explode all at once. It tightens first. Look closely. This is Paris, 1789, months before the revolution tears the city apart. Nearly 600,000 people are packed into a capital built on hierarchy, ritual, and fragile supply lines. Bread is life here, and life is becoming impossible to afford. Tonight, we are walking through Paris at the edge of collapse. We will move through its streets, markets, tenements, and taverns, watching how hunger reshapes daily life long before politics does. By the end, you will understand why the revolution does not begin with ideas, but with empty stomachs. Would you survive this city? Paris in the late 18th century is dense, noisy, and unevenly fed. Narrow medieval streets twist between tall stone buildings. Upper floors block light and trap smells. Waste runs along gutters until rain carries it toward the river. Most Parisians are workers, artisans, labourers, servants, porters. They earn just enough to buy bread, and bread consumes most of their income. When prices rise, everything else collapses. There is no refrigeration, no reserve stockpile for the poor. The city depends on daily deliveries from the countryside. If grain slows, Paris starves almost immediately. And in 1789, grain is slowing. Bread stalls dominate the markets. Long loaves stacked behind wooden counters become objects of tension rather than comfort. Prices are posted and reposted as flour costs climb. Arguments break out constantly. Bakers are accused of hoarding, of watering dough, of selling to the rich first. Some accusations are true, others are desperate looking for a target. Women watch closely. They know how much bread a household needs to survive the week. When the price rises even slightly, they feel it immediately. Would you be able to feed your family today? In working districts, entire families share single rooms. Furniture is minimal. Bedding is thin. Privacy does not exist. Windows are small and rarely opened in winter. Meals grow smaller. Meat disappears entirely. Bread becomes darker, heavier, mixed with fillers. Children cry more often. Adults grow quieter. Hunger changes behavior. Tempers shorten. Neighbors argue over noise, over smells, over imagined slights. Community thins under pressure. Paris is not yet violent, but it is brittle. Just streets away, another Paris exists. Carriages roll past guarded doors. Tables are set with multiple courses. Bread is present but unnoticed. The contrast is impossible to ignore. The poor see it daily. They deliver goods to these homes. They scrub their floors. They watch waste thrown out that could feed entire families. Resentment does not begin as ideology. It begins as observation. Employment is unstable. Workshops close when orders slow. Seasonal labor disappears without warning. Wages do not rise with food prices. Men line up for work that may not exist. Women take in laundry or sewing for pennies. Children are sent out to beg or scavenge. When work fails, hunger accelerates. And when hunger accelerates, patience collapses. Would you survive without steady wages here? Paris runs on rumor. News travels mouth to mouth, growing darker with each telling. Grain convoys are said to be intercepted. The king is said to be indifferent. The nobles are said to be feasting. Some rumors are exaggerated, others are true enough to matter. Fear spreads faster than facts, and fear sharpens every shortage into an insult. Taverns fill as evenings fall. Alcohol dulls hunger and loosens tongues. Conversations grow louder, angrier. People complain openly now, about prices, about taxes, about authority. What was once whispered becomes shared grievance. These rooms are crowded, smoky, and restless. A single argument can turn physical quickly. Paris is learning how close it is to the edge. Authorities try to maintain order. Patrols increase near markets. Bakers are watched closely. Grain stores are guarded. But enforcement only highlights scarcity. Every guarded cart suggests something worth stealing. Every soldier suggests fear at the top. Trust between the city and its rulers thins with each patrol. By early summer, hunger has settled into daily life. Not dramatic starvation, something worse: constant deprivation. People wake up tired, go to bed hungry, count coins that no longer work. And now, the question hangs over Paris like smoke. If bread does not come tomorrow, what will people do instead? Some streets erupt before nightfall. Men overturn carts. Women push through lines with fists raised. Children are dragged into the fray by parents too tired to resist. Guards try to intervene, but the crowd moves faster than authority. When they are struck, retaliation is swift. When they retreat, the message spreads. There is no protection for the desperate. Bakeries are looted. Flour and bread are carried off into alleys. Some bakers are forced to sell at prices set by the mob. Others are stripped bare, doors smashed, ovens extinguished. The city has begun teaching its own lessons in justice. Hunger, more than law, now rules. Would you step into a crowd like this or run for safety? Women, not men, are often the catalysts. They carry the responsibility for feeding families. They feel shortages first. They shout the loudest. They organize quietly, pointing, instructing, coordinating within the chaos. Their anger is not ideological. It is practical, urgent, and impossible to ignore. The women of Paris in 1789 are, in many ways, the first revolutionaries. They do not call it liberty yet, they call it survival. As chaos grows, fear climbs the social ladder. Wealthier Parisians barricade themselves behind gates. Some flee to estates outside the city. Merchants hire guards for delivery carts. Rumors of mobs moving through neighborhoods become justification for overprotection. Soldiers are stationed in streets where tension is thickest. But their presence often escalates conflict. Hunger makes them uneasy too. Many are drawn from the same neighborhoods as the desperate citizens they are ordered to control. In Paris, fear is contagious. It does not require truth, only the perception of threat. The monarchy attempts to maintain order. Guards patrol markets, price controls are posted, arrests are made. But these measures fail. Each action intended to stabilize the city often fuels suspicion instead. Public officials appear disconnected. Soldiers are undermanned. Informants are ignored. Control relies on cooperation, but cooperation has evaporated. The law is present, but legitimacy is gone. The city no longer believes the system will protect it. Survival has replaced obedience. By late July, Paris is alive with small revolts. Crowds stop carts, overturn barrels, and shout demands. Nothing is organized nationally, yet, but locally, each street, alley, and neighborhood begins functioning like a pressure chamber. Every shortage, every rumor, every delay increases the tension. Violence spreads, not as a plan, but as an instinctive response. The streets are alive with the sounds of anger, fear, and desperation. Every shout echoes against the stone walls. Every shove carries the weight of weeks without bread. Hunger has become energy, energy has become action, and action is about to become irreversible. Step back, and the collapse of Paris becomes clear. The city relies on daily grain deliveries. Wages cannot absorb shocks. Prices are manipulated or delayed. Leadership responds slowly, while rumor spreads instantly. The physical city concentrates people into narrow streets where conflict is unavoidable. The system is fragile, but it appears unyielding. The monarchy and its officials act as if order is eternal, while the population already moves like a wave that cannot be contained. Hunger is not just food, it is a vector. Fear accelerates it. Chaos is inevitable when survival trumps structure. This is the invisible machinery behind the crisis. Without understanding it, one sees only mobs, not the city breaking from within. By early August, the city balances on a knife's edge. Markets reopen and close within hours. Bread is distributed unevenly. Crowds form, disperse, then return. Patrols no longer deter anyone. Soldiers retreat when confronted. Neighborhoods organize their own watches. Rumors of stockpiles, hoarding, and foreign interference multiply. People are not speaking of liberty or rights yet. They speak of bread, survival, and who will control the supplies tomorrow. But this practical desperation has already prepared the city for revolutionary action. Hunger has trained the people in collective behavior long before ideology arrives. Paris in 1789 teaches a stark lesson. Cities dependent on fragile supply chains can reach a breaking point long before politics or philosophy take hold. Survival depends on access, timing, and observation of the system. When the system fails, people respond immediately. When hunger is shared, fear becomes permission. Law becomes optional. Authority becomes irrelevant. Look closely. Hunger is not just food. It is information. It is power. It is action. Would you survive Paris in 1789, standing in the streets as lines grow, ovens remain cold, and rumors ignite fear faster than any order could stop it? Beautiful in its endurance, brutal in its cost. Comment below with the next city and year you want to explore, and whether you think you could survive long enough to see history turn.